Well, the clowns have invaded early, at least for those who have pre ordered. And today I want to give you some tips and things you need to know to be better equipped to fight back as the humans. I want to give you some things that will definitely help you in your fight back against the clowns, and also some things you may need to look out for as well. So, if you like the type of videos I do here, consider subscribing, hit your notifications so you never miss one from me. Let's go and get into it. So Ilphonic was nice enough to give me a couple of days early access so that way I could bring videos like this to you and bring you my review, which is already posted if you want to check that out as well, where I talk about if I think this game is worth buying. But here, it's all about the humans and their fight back against the clowns. Now, the first thing you need to know is this is not your typical ASIM horror game where you're kind of crouching around, you're trying to be really sneaky, and stay away from a formidable foe or a horror icon where you really can't fight back. This game, you can definitely fight back because these humans, like I said, they are scrappy. So you're going to come across a variety of different weapons from shotguns and revolvers to fire pokers, lead pipes, frying pans, and a whole host of other things that you can use to stab, slash, and throw at the clowns in order to escape their wrath. And really, the clowns can be very easy to kill, especially if you get 2 or 3 humans together that team up on them. Now, in order to actually kill one of the clowns, once you get them down, you're going to need that fire poker, a knife, or a gun, and you got to go for their nose, and then that will actually take them out of the game for 45 seconds. Now, if you have a fire poker or if you're carrying a knife and you end up getting cocooned, you can use those things to cut your way out of the cocoon. Sometimes you want to not necessarily do it immediately, but you may want to wait until the clowns actually hang you up on one of the lackey machines. Now, another thing that you need to know is there are absolutely no perks. Ilphonic ended up removing this element from the game, I think for pretty obvious reasons. So meta builds and all of this kind of stuff. Yes, people are going to start talking about this. What's the best meta for this? And meta for Slim and meta for who Shorty and whatever else. That's not a conversation I hope we'll be having. And so what they did is they removed the perks from the game. Now, each one of the characters, of course, is going to have different pros and cons as far as stamina, strength, and things like that. But otherwise, the biggest focus here and what you'll find in the pregame lobbies is customization. So, of course, you have your special characters, which are Mike and Debbie, as far as right now. And then, of course, you can customize everything basically from head to toe, and you can customize their voice as well. There's going to be different unlockables, and then each one of the sections of humans, or human types, I should say, are going to have their own set of unlockables as well. So, a lot of different customization and unlockable options, and leveling up actually means something in this game. Another thing you need to know as a humans is there are mini games everywhere. Let's say you go for the boat escape. Well, there's going to be a mini game when you remove the cotton, one when you put gas in, one when you put spark plug in, and one when you start the boat as well. Say you use a hiding spot. Well, don't just put your controller down and think that you're good to go. There's going to be many games there as well. Now, even though you can't see the entirety of the map, you do have a little bit of direction down at the bottom right, but there's also an optional meetup spot that you're going to get at the start of each match. This is going to do a couple things. First of all, it's going to arm you fairly quickly, and there's typically some pretty good items there, but it's also going to show you temporarily the exits on the map. Now, you can also find a compass to do the same thing, which again is going to show you those exits. Speaking of the exits, you're going to have 4. So you're going to have a boat, a bridge, or a tunnel, a portal machine, a bunker, and then at the very end, once the clown apocalypse hits 30 seconds, you'll have one last chance, and that will be escaping through the Trinzi brothers. They're going to run their ice cream truck through a wall somewhere in the map, and if you get there in time, you can utilize that escape as well. Now, there is something really important up there at the top right that you need to pay attention to. When you first start, all of those icons or all of those escapes are going to be there, of course, because they haven't been used yet. Now, once you see those things start disappearing, that means that those escapes are no longer a viable option. So if you see the boat isn't there, you're not going to waste your time trying to get a spark plug and a gas, for instance. When you see them go from grayed out to lit up, I've kind of been playing around with this to see exactly what happens, and I believe that means that the cotton has been removed. There's been times where I've seen them light up different ways and there's still cotton on them, whatever the case may be. But when you start seeing them light up, especially when they turn green, that means that there are items on them ready to go. So it could be, let's say the bunker has gas, but it needs a key card. When you see the boat starts blinking, that means that thing is ready to go and you need to get to the boat as quick as possible. So they use a little bit different colors, but typically green is going to mean, all right, this thing is either ready or it is close to ready. So if you have an escape item for one of those 4 exits, you may be the missing piece of the puzzle in order to utilize that escape, or it may be ready to go and you might want to book it and get there. Brothers, boat's ready? Brothers. Now, of course, there's prox chat in the game too, so you always want to keep this in mind. When you're strategizing between you and the other humans, just remember if there's a clown close enough, they can also hear those escape plans you're trying to pull off. Now, you can also see what other escape items other players have. So when they get close enough to you, if they have a spark plug, a key card, you're going to be able to see that. And so maybe you can, even if you don't have a mic, you can start, flickering your flashlight on and off. Hey, follow me. Let's go. That kind of thing. So you can see other escape items that the other humans do have. All your high value items typically are going to have an underglow. So your shotgun, revolvers, knives, things like that are going to have a red underglow. And then a lot of your exit items are going to have a green underglow. Now, let's say you get to an exit and you have a spark plug, you have gas, you have a shotgun, something that you really don't need anymore. You can actually drop these items for other players by holding down on the directional pad. And there is no rhyme or reason when you start looting. You may find a spark plug in a cooler. You may find a gun in a cooler. I mean, when you start looting, you literally have no clue what you're going to come across. So looting is going to be key. You're going to want to loot pretty much everything. Sometimes you get lucky enough where you come across an exit and there's one of the 2 items that are needed right near it. And then, of course, you're going to have to expand out a little bit further in order to find the other item. Now, of course, we're going to talk about fighting the clowns a little bit more here in a second, but when it comes to escaping, you want to know something about the bridge that we learned actually last night at the time of recording this video, and that is 2 of you cannot cross at the same time. Oh.
Brother, are you gonna make it?
Go ahead. No, you go. Just walk slowly. Hurry up. Go.
Brother, okay, now your turn.
Okay.
Slowly, brother, slowly.
Oh my goodness. It can't hold 2 of us at the same time.
Be over there.
I'm walking across real slowly, bro. As slowly as I can. I got it, baby. Let's go. One of you may end up getting across. Maybe. But that bridge is going to collapse before you can make your way across. So it's one at a time. You don't want to run. You want to make sure that you're crouch walking because the bridge exit cannot take that many people walking on top of it. And remember, keep an eye on the bridge or the tunnel as well because the clowns can equally walk on it really quick and actually destroy it. Hold on. What I can do though. Yeah, I can close it like that. I got you too. You think you got something, but I got you, bro. Now keep in mind you want to look for the green underglows next to the exits. So sometimes you're just going to come across an exit and it just has a bunch of a blob what looks like, in front of it, or, just a bunch of cotton candy or something like that. And those exits do move around at each and every match. So they're not always going to be in the same spot. The boat's not going to be in the same spot. You get the idea here. So just look for the green underglows, and that's going to be an exit. When you're moving around, this is something you really want to pay attention to. So noise is more of a scale than an on-off switch, meaning when you crouch, you're not making any noise, right? But you're going to move the slowest, obviously. When you walk, you're going to make a little bit more noise, of course, and it really depends on how close the clowns are to you. If you have one that's really close to you, you don't want to do anything but crouch, or maybe even sit in a bush for a while, because even by walking, they're going to get those little pings. It's just like Friday the 13th, the circles that kind of close in on them. If you start running full sprint, of course, that's going to make the most amount of noise. If you have the gas can, for instance, and you go to the bunker and you're like, man, I need to go ahead and put the gas in, this may not be the time to do it, because as soon as you put gas in the generator to the bunker, it's going to start making noise and alert the clowns, letting them know that you're trying to use that escape. So you may want to uncottonize it, and then make sure that somebody is right there standing with the key card, and then of course, do the gas first. You have to do the gas first. There's no other way around it. You may want to time that with another player. The boat. This is something you may want to, get it started. There was a couple of times actually I got it started, and then I was trying to let other people know, like, hey, I got this thing started. Anybody that's nearby, come on, jump in the boat, jump in the boat. Other clowns obviously, might be able to hear that, but I was hoping that other humans would get there first. Now, of course, if they're looking for that green flashing, thing at the top, like, hey, the boat's ready, then, obviously that would indicate to them as well that they need to get there now. When you utilize the portal, which is one of the hardest escapes right now, as far as honestly, it comes down to coordination between you and another player, typically, because finding two spark plugs is actually kind of hard. So if you work with another player, then you guys may be able to do this, but you also need to work with them as well, because somebody needs to keep that portal open long enough where you can get through it, and then they can jump off of the portal and utilize it as well. And each one of the exits is going to allow like 3 people. Now, one thing I did notice last night, I actually used a bridge exit, and I crossed the bridge as slowly as possible. And my buddy that came behind me tried to do the same thing, and it closed down on him. So the bridge may be just limited to one person, or you may have to just not only crouch but move super, super, super slow, which makes it tough, especially if you're trying to escape a clown, and you get everything open, and then it's like you can't run across it. And if the clowns see that it's open, they can destroy it. So it's one of the harder exits as well. If you're looking for the easiest exit, in my opinion, that's going to be the boat. That's the one I tend to gravitate towards. I always kind of find myself by the water for some reason. And plus, I really like the boat escape, if I'm being honest with you. But all of them have their, little quirks, pros and cons, of course. But I think the boat is the easiest escape. Now, I've been talking about working with other players quite a bit because I think that's important. But if you spend too much time alone, that's actually going to cause your fear to rise, which will do a couple things. Obviously, it's going to close down your screen, kind of like Friday the 13th, or kind of close down your viewing area. But it's also going to cause you to trip, stumble whenever you actually try to run and get away from the clowns. That's pretty much it, man. Those are the things that I've learned that will hopefully help you out and make it easier for you to jump right in and escape the evasion and kill some clowns along the way. I'd really love to hear any other kind of tips or things that you've learned so far. Are you enjoying the game so far? Let me know all your thoughts and or questions down below. Big thanks to you guys. Again, if you like what I do, consider subscribing and make sure you join me for my live streams and or the other videos I'll be doing on killer clowns, and much more to come here very soon. Big thanks. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.